Okay, so let's get to what's happening in the dailies. This time we'll get to find out exactly what the dailies are capturing, especially offshoot from what happened at the weekend. Okay, maybe we'll get to the Abuja Inquirer. This time, let's get to the Abuja Inquirer. That's the first daily we'll look at. ICPC blocks 1.6 billion naira fraud in agency. ICPC blocks 1.6 billion naira fraud in agency. So I think that story, if I read just an excerpt, the ICPC have explained how it blocked 1.6 billion naira from being diverted by some government. You can go on and open the page to find out which government agency is that in that sense. But it's good that they are stepping up. They didn't allow the money to be stolen, because as soon as that money gets out, it's difficult for it to reverse. This is one money that to reverse is always quite hard. So commendation. So you can find that story on page 2 of the Abuja Inquirer if you want to get to know details of what that story is really all about. I can see the picture of the Pope and the President, Pope Leo XIV, and President Bola Tinubu was invited. It's been a while I saw the President in suits, so it was quite good to see him. Makes him look younger in this sense. All right.
There you go. It's quite interesting to see. And can we know some of the agencies or the agency in question coming from the ICPC's blockade of, or blocking of 1.6 billion naira fraud? What agency are we talking about? It would be great to know, right? But let's turn our attention to the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. And I think that this just speaks to one of the challenges that we're still grappling with, sadly. The Vanguard newspaper this morning, Monday, May the 19th, leads with this story. Let's take a look at the Vanguard newspaper. If we can just have that. There you go. Herdsmen, bandits strike in Benue, Kebbi, Imo, Ondo, Kogi, kill 33. State police will stem tide of insecurity at Fenifere. And you see this one coming from northeast Nigeria. The governor of Borno State, Babagana Zulum, begging the federal government not to allow Marte fall. I recall that days ago, over a week ago, Marte came under attack, and we're told that majority of the communities, or people in the communities, have deserted to neighboring local government, about 20,000 of them. And it is said that it's only one community that is standing, so you understand why he's saying this. In fact, reports have it that he was mobilizing security overnight in Marte. So this is an SOS yet again from the governor of Borno State, but this is going to form a major part of our conversation on the show.
Absolutely. It's just sad to see that the gains are eroding quickly and very fast. But let's get to the next daily. It's the Blueprint newspaper is the next. It leads with a statement by elder statesman Alhaji Tanko Yakasai, saying no candidate with capacity to match Tinubu in 2027. Says North has nothing against him. It's going to be a landslide victory for Asiwaju APC. That's according to DSP Jibrin Barau. Northwest faring better under Mr. President. That's according to the governor of Kaduna State, Ubasani. So there's a lot of political talk. There's unofficial campaign that has started already. I know that the APC are having a meeting about 3 days. They call it the National Summit. A lot of stakeholders are coming. NEC is holding for PDP on the 27th. I'm not sure what the Labour Party are doing, or the NNPP. But everybody is trying to do their computation and calculation and arithmetic in terms of how to position themselves. And all of the big talks are now high there. Everybody's talking big. And it's all part of the game. So it's okay. So this is their submission that as it stands now, nobody can beat Bola Tinubu in the next election. But we've also said that because of the word I want to use now, because of the inability of the opposition to put their acts together, it's primarily going to be Nigerians against the ruling party, for and against at the end of the day. Kylie.
Interesting times ahead. The Guardian newspaper is next. And I want to start with the pictures on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Not the one, I mean, President Tinubu with the Pope, we talked about that, but the one under that is what I want to speak to. And you see the Olu of Warri, who signed some sort of agreement, partnership with the Zulu Kingdom head in South Africa. It's a royal pledge for collaboration in social, economic development, cultural exchange, and investment opportunities between the two kingdoms. This happened over the weekend, and it's quite interesting to see the kind of reactions trailing that one. But way to go, I must say, between the Ulu of Warri and the Zulu Kingdom. But back to the big story on the front page, you see MPC at crossroads over a rate hike amid sticky prices and global uncertainty. So do they jerk it up as it is? Do they bring it down or maintain status quo? MPC, by the way, is the Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN. They're going to be voting, as usual, to decide what to do with Nigeria's interest rate. I know predictions are coming in. Let them just keep it as it is, maintain status quo. But we'll wait to see. It's a page 6 read of the Guardian newspaper today.
At the end of the day, the MPC has a lot of work. Sometimes the responsibility we put on the fiscal authority is actually on the MPC. So using their instruments as far as maybe the CRR or the rate itself is concerned to be able to stabilize the economy. So sometimes what we expect of the fiscal authority is actually to be done by the monetary authority.
And the monetary authorities will tell you, well, we can't do this alone. It's a fiscal authority.
So there has to be that hybrid. Because when I look at the agenda of the president when he was coming in, their diagnosis of what was wrong with the system then was not too much money in the system, which is part of what spikes inflation.
Exactly.
But they were saying it's a supply problem. So how much of supply have they sorted out? So it's cost push in that sense. So all of this aggregation is what they will look at. But one of the things I look at to know the direction of the MPC is the core inflation, not even the headline inflation. It gives them a sense of what the drivers are and how to. The interest rate is high. Let's see how it goes. So when we also look at the asymmetric corridor, we now know, do you want to mop up liquidity or you want liquidity in the system? It's all part of how dynamics plays out.
I think largely people that watch the interest rate are businesses. You know, people there. The average Nigerian, and I say this advisedly, the average Nigerian maybe appreciates it, maybe not, but is probably looking at the fiscal authorities more, and I'm talking about the government.
Yes,
so just so we don't use a big term, it's a government, the federal government in that sense. The CBN is a monetary authority, and they're meant to be independent, but you know, some of these things, how they work sometimes. So the fiscal authorities, in terms of the policies, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's even the economy, security, all of those things,
flood the places
exactly, add up to then impact the decision of the monetary authorities, who then look and say, okay, let's. It's usually a headache, but that's what it is, really. Can we take one more page?
Yeah, the big burden is on the fiscal authority. I agree with you totally. Because if they do their work well and beat the legacy issues, all of this will be tapered.
Absolutely.
This Nigeria is the next one. Tenants grown as rents in cities continue to soar. Increased by 60% in 2025. My God. That's a good place to pause. Agents, agreement fees add to cost. State tenancy laws gather dust. Landlords cash in on high costs of building materials. I was watching the AGM of, I think, Boa, when he was complaining that in 2024 it actually crashed the price to 35, but dealers were still selling for 7,000. I was surprised to hear that.
Even for rice as well.
And there's this guy that's always close marking people that are just hiking prices of properties in Lagos. I've forgotten his name. We're trying to bring him on the show. And he talked about the fact that if you see the price of some property on Banana Island, it will feel like is there oil reserve under the earth. Because if that is going on right now in 2025, what will happen in the future? We know there is a 1% of the 1%, but sometimes overdone at the end of the day. So every state, especially places like Lagos, should do the best. I know the government is trying to put measures.
It's a tricky conversation.
Yeah, it's a very tricky one.
I mean, Banana Island is understandable. If you're going to Banana Island, all the best. You should know what to expect, absolutely. But when you come to areas on the mainland, for example...
Even on that island, it's not everywhere that should be expensive, actually.
But
even in places
it's
like...
what it is. And some of the landlords will tell you, well, at first, it cost a lot to build this house. Also, I have...
They built the house in 1944.
No, well, yeah. But some of them will tell you that I have obligations too, and the value of this... And by the way, they do valuations from time to time, and they try to evaluate how much is this house now. So if your house is worth about 200 million naira or 150 million naira, how much rent would you charge to at least make sense? Again, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, understanding that there's a balance. Can government legislate rent in that sense? maybe not too much. You can say, well, don't ask for 2 years rent, or try to make the process transparent. All of these added costs, agents. By the way, there are like 4 agents in that value chain, because one gets it and gives it to the other, and then there are other costs that jerk up the price. So I think those are the issues that we also should speak to.
Yeah, big legacy issues, but it's a very controversial conversation.